So one of the cardinal rules of influence. If a person is confused or they are uncertain about something, they cannot take an action towards it. Hi, this is Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether it's Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. I want to welcome our Magellan Network family, the members, our YouTube community, and then obviously Spotify, all of our podcast listeners. Welcome to the one of our June episodes. So today, what I want to talk about is really a little bit of a story and then kind of some observations about, are you over relying on information and analytics and under relying on emotion, right, and influence when you're communicating, influencing, persuading both clients and prospects? And the reason why I bring this up, I had an experience very recently with one of my personal clients. They have embarked on doing some white glove seminars, right, which is great. And so I said, hey, man, walk me through what we're going to do and things like that. And we had a brief conversation about it. Then he did a seminar cycle. We debriefed it. And he had okay results. But it wasn't the results that I would be looking for if I were doing these types of events. And the reason why I say that is early in my career, I'm going back probably now 15, 20 years. I had probably at the time maybe about 50 clients that were on an absolute regular basis doing dinner retirement rollover seminars, whether it was for pure managed money, fee-based AUM, combination of that, annuities, like all the gambit of stuff, right, from that perspective. And I'll let you guys in on something, which is interesting today. So back then when I was young and definitely a little bit more crazy than I am today, I think age has mellowed me a little bit. I would have all my clients, I would say, look, have a team member videotape it, right? We're not looking for, Hollywood production qualities here. Just get the thing on tape, VCR, Super 8, VHSCs. Man, some of you don't even know what that is. That's how young you are. And I used to have them overnight or FedEx them or priority mail them to me. And I had every known adapter to put any known cassette, Betamax, the whole thing, right, in my office. And I would watch them. And this should probably be a whole nother episode, quite frankly. But I used to watch, and I used to sit there, and a lot of time I would cringe because, again, if you're doing workshops, by the way, workshops and Zooms, real quick sidebar. If you're doing anything where getting a particular result is critical, so if you're out there dealing with the public, if you're doing Zoom webinars, right? You're doing live events, right? Live seminars. Remember something. For a lot of you, if you're down that road, it's the most important and not the most expensive business development / marketing lever strategy you're deploying. And if you're not watching the video and like an athlete watches film, think of it that way, okay? Now, why did I watch film? And this was just my crazy idea. Football coaches, film study, right? And I remember Bill Walsh, I'm dating myself, like Bill Walsh used to watch hours and hours of film. That's how he perfected the West Coast offense in football. So I would literally spend nights and weekends watching advisors. Probably did 1,000 of these, by the way. And what I realized back then is the tools have changed, obviously. But I think it's the same problem, which is that we're over-reliant on information. We think that we educate people or show people how smart we are, that's going to attract them to us, right? And, let's say I needed open heart surgery, okay? I want the best doctor. I don't care if he's an asshole, but I know he's the best. I'll deal with that, right? But that's a one-time my life's on the line thing, okay? For human beings, most of us, 95, depends on who you believe, 93, 95%, we're emotional decision makers. And the first thing we've got to have with any human being is rapport. Like, I got to like you. And if I think you're a jerk or you're over the top with you, like, look how, like, that person's really, they're trying to sound smart, but they sound arrogant, right? I mean, you can do the presentation, you can teach and train like an MBA at Harvard with a PhD in finance, economics, and financial planning. But if you don't resonate with people, you're not going to get a lot of business. You're not going to convert people. And what I see, and this is my interaction with my client really kind of reminded me, that's why we're having this conversation today, that be careful about falling into the trap when you're in a position of influence, whether you're influencing a group, doing a seminar or a client education event or something like that, or you're one-on-one with a client or prospect and you're trying to get them to take an action. Usually, more information is detrimental. Remember this. So one of the cardinal rules of influence. If a person is confused or they are uncertain about something, they cannot take an action towards it. Okay, it's a cardinal rule. So if you give them too much information and it confuses them, they're not going to sit there and raise their hand and say, hey, I'm confused, right? They're going to just like shake their head, yeah, oh yeah, this is really good. Yeah, I'm learning a lot. This is a great presentation. And their brain's like, because again, everybody's got an ego, right? Nobody's going to raise their hand and go, hey, I think I'm stupid and I don't get this. Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. It's not going to happen, okay? So you're going to get a lot of nods and yeah, and this is great. Yeah, I totally get it. And they don't get anything, by the way. And then you wonder why they didn't say yes to you, or they got to go home and think about it, or we don't know, or we don't want to make any changes right now, right? And then, you, the advisor, you're perplexed. Like, I don't understand, right? Well, what happened was you gave them a lot of information, but you didn't connect with them emotionally. And remember, until somebody tells me something differently, probably not in my lifetime, we are in the emotional business, okay? Some of you don't like the idea because the information stuff is a lot easier. It sure is. But do you want easy or do you want effective? Because easy is exactly that. Easy is mediocre. Easy is just good enough. You got to connect with your audience, whether it's an audience of 30, 50, or 1. You've got to connect with them emotionally, okay? So when I pulled apart my client's presentation, I said, hey, man, you got way too much information here. Where are my stories? Where's the, here's why I got into the business. Here's why this is important to me to help you. Where are those client stories? Where's the emotional impact you have with people? Where's the conversation about the mission you're on? Like, where's all that, right? And if you don't have that, and I'm going to try to give you a frame of reference that I hope you all get and it doesn't ruffle anybody's feathers, okay? I need you to think like you have a flock, like whether a priest, a rabbi, a minister, a deacon, whatever, and you have to make impact with people. Like that kind of emotional intensity when you're in front of a person of 1 or a person of a group of 100, you got to bring that emotion. And you cannot practice that. You can't sit there and say, okay, I'm going to practice being really committed. Like, no, doesn't work that way. And I'm telling you, I watch film upon film, and I watch Gantt charts, pie charts. I mean, everything under the sun, talking about Social Security benefits, generational skipping, all this kind of stuff, right? And this was my question. Well, how'd your workshop go? It went really, really well. People came up to me and they really liked it. They learned a lot. Okay, yeah, but how many buying units did we have there? We had 20. How many people wanted appointments? 2. So why do you think you did a good workshop? Workshops are only measured by the percentage of buying units who want to have a follow-up conversation with you. Period. End of story. Otherwise, you're just feeding your ego. Oh, I was in front of the room. People loved me. They learned a lot, stuff like that. Who cares? Not going to pay your bills. And I can come to these conversations. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully, if you're not, you should definitely click over and take a look at this. I don't come to these conversations like reading off a teleprompter. In fact, for this one, I don't have bullet points. Like I had nothing, man. I'm just ripping right now with you guys, right? Why? Because I unlock my emotions. I don't sit here and like read to you. That would be boring. I'd hate it myself, quite frankly. And it's kind of interesting for me because I don't know sometimes I really literally don't know what's going to come out of my mouth next because I just get on a roll and whatever comes out of my heart and my soul and my experience, I share with you guys unfiltered. That is the way you influence people. You be real, you be raw, you still be professional. And I've seen this phenomenon where an advisor will do a workshop the first time and they're nervous. And I watch the video and you could tell they're nervous, right? They even forget some of the slides. Like they skip over stuff. They run long. And it's a crappy presentation. But they're authentic. There's empathy. They're real. And a lot of people want to meet with them. Then they improve their workshop. They learn it. It's like they know it cold. Just they run through it like a script. And results are worse. Why? They got better at the presentation. They know it better. They lost the authenticity of it. That's my word for it. And they're not real anymore. And that becomes a problem. So I just want you to all remember, this goes for clients too. If you're with a client, you got to make a change in their approach to how you're running their money or their investment or their financial plan, or they're screwing stuff up. They're spending too much money. They're not listening. Please don't pull out the financial plan, throw it on the monitor in the conference room and talk at them. It will not move the needle for them. They'll shake their head. Yeah, we understand. Hey, let's think about it. We'll get back to you. That is not impact. So you have a choice when you're dealing with somebody. Either you're going to get this, and this is my term. When I deal with whether it's a client or a prospect, I don't care. Any advisor that comes into my world, even here, I look at it as like, hey, I'm going to get in the foxhole with you. And we're going to get dirty together. We're going to bleed together. But I'm going to absolutely have your back inside this conversation. That's the approach that you got to bring to your influence and communication with clients, CEO. I don't care who it is. Because guess what business you're really in? Yeah, I know I say you're in the people business, but what does that really mean, though? When you're in the people business, what am I really trying to convey in that message? Truthfully, you're in the coaching and influence business. You're in my game. You may not recognize it as such, but guess what? The sooner you do, the sooner you'll move towards acquiring those skill sets. And when you acquire those skill sets, you'll have so much power that whenever you sit with anyone, whenever you're in a room full of people, right? Like, because going into that room, you've already won. Seminars are won and lost, not in the room. It's before you even start the conversation. When you're getting ready to meet a prospect in the office, on Zoom, doesn't matter on phone, that conversation is won or lost before the conversation by how you decide to show up inside that conversation. Or you're going to just kind of wing it or kind of sleepwalk through it, give them some information and some data and relying on their analytical powers to make the right analytical choice, which, by the way, in decision-making syntaxes, we call those super digitals, and you don't deal with them. They are all the do-it-yourselfers, okay? No malice towards any engineer who happens to be listening here or watching. Even 90 to 95% of engineers are emotional decision makers, but they use a lot of data to validate that emotional decision. That's the difference, right? So my goal today inside of our conversation is just make you aware. Hey, if you're frustrated with your results, whether you're doing seminars, webinars, or just dealing with people, prospects one-on-one, and you can't get them over the hump, take a look. Am I over-informationing people and under-emotioning people? Am I not using enough influence? Am I not bringing my A game, my AAA game inside that conversation? Okay? Really, really important. So, happy June. Pass this along. If this episode had impact for you, please forward it to your friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers inside the game. And I will see you all again in 7 days. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.